Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are getting into one of the absolute bedrock concepts of artificial intelligence. We're talking about linear regression, which is basically how machines learn to predict numerical values.
Oh, I am so ready for this one. When most of us hear AI, we immediately picture chatbots or, I don't know, self-driving cars. But underneath all that flashy stuff is this massive need to predict real-world continuous numbers. Think about predicting a house price or forecasting next month's sales. That's exactly what linear regression does, and we're going to show you how.
So here is our roadmap. We'll do a super quick intro to supervised learning, figure out what linear regression actually is, and see how to draw a best fit line. After that, we'll talk about minimizing prediction errors, and finally, we'll dive into the really crucial stuff, ethics and algorithmic bias. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Intro to Supervised Learning, Setting the Foundation. Okay, so before we throw a bunch of math at this, where does linear regression actually live in the massive AI universe?
Good question. Machine learning is really broken down by how the computer actually learns. Supervised learning, for instance, relies on historical, labeled examples. It's like giving the computer a cheat sheet. Unsupervised learning, though, deals entirely with unlabeled data, so the machine is just trying to discover hidden patterns all on its own.
Right, so if we're trying to predict something super specific, like whether someone will default on a loan or what a used car will sell for, we are firmly in supervised learning territory. We literally have to provide past labeled data to act as the supervisor.
Exactly. We feed it historical data where we already know the answer, and it learns the underlying relationships so it can predict outcomes for entirely new data.
But even inside supervised learning, we've got a split. It's classification on one side and regression on the other.
Spot on. And it totally depends on what kind of answer you're looking for. If you want to put things into discrete categories, like saying a customer is high risk versus low risk, that's classification. But if you're looking for a continuous floating point value, like an exact dollar amount for a car, that is regression.
Makes sense. So since our whole goal today is predicting continuous numerical values, regression is the tool for the job. Section 2. What is linear regression? The power of the line. You know, what I love about linear regression is that it's highly interpretable. It's not some mysterious black box. It simply assumes there's a straight, linear relationship between your inputs and your output. Let's say we want to predict the price of a used car just based on its mileage.
Right. So imagine mapping out a bunch of past car sales on a graph. As the mileage gets higher, the price generally drops, right? Linear regression is literally just the process of calculating and drawing a straight, best fit line right through the middle of all those scattered data points. Once you've got that line, if a brand new car rolls onto the lot and you know its mileage, you just find that exact spot on your line, and boom, you have your predicted price.
And there's a basic formula that makes that line happen. Y equals W times X plus W0. Okay, for anyone having high school algebra flashbacks right now, this is literally just Y equals MX plus B. Absolutely, it's the exact same thing. Y is the target output we want, like the predicted price. X is our input feature, the mileage. The machine's entire job here is to just figure out the best possible values for W and W0. The W is the slope, or the weight, which tells us how steep the line should be. And W0 is the intercept, where the line crosses the axis. By tweaking those two little parameters, the algorithm just tilts and shifts the line until it fits the data. Section 3, minimizing the prediction errors, finding the best fit. So that brings up a pretty massive question. If the machine is just endlessly trying out different slopes and intercepts, how does it actually know when a specific line is the absolute best fit?
Well, it's all about minimizing errors through optimization. If you picture a regression line running through a bunch of scattered points, the vertical distance between an actual real-world data point and the line we drew, that gap is our prediction error.
Yeah. In statistics, we call that gap a residual. It's just the difference between the true observed value and what our line guessed.
And because real-world data is inherently noisy, the points are never going to fall perfectly on the line. The model assumes these errors are normally distributed. Basically, most errors are going to be pretty small and cluster near the line with just a few big misses further out.
To actually find the absolute best line, the algorithm calculates something called the mean squared error, or MSE. It's a simple four-step process. First, predict a value on the line. Second, calculate the difference from the actual true point, our residual. Third, you square that difference. And we square it for a really brilliant reason. It turns any negative errors into positive numbers so they don't just cancel each other out, and it massively penalizes the really large errors. Exactly. Finally, step 4, it averages those squared differences across all the test data. The algorithm's ultimate mathematical goal is to make that final number as tiny as possible. The line that gives you the lowest mean squared error, that's your winner. That's your best fit line. Now, this brings us to a huge concept in machine learning, the bias-variance trade-off. Oh, for sure. Think about it. A simple linear regression model is just a rigid, straight line. Because it makes this massive, sweeping assumption that the data is perfectly linear, it has what we call high bias. It might underfit a little bit if the real-world data has a weird, complex curve to it. But on the flip side, if we use some crazy complex algorithm that wiggled around to perfectly hit every single noisy data point, that model would have high variance. It would ace the training data, but absolutely tank when you gave it new data. Linear regression's simple, high bias nature actually makes it surprisingly robust against noisy training data. It captures the overall trend without panicking over a few weird outliers. But because it is so simple, we really have to respect its limitations. There are strict mathematical assumptions required for it to actually work.
Right. Like, we have to assume there genuinely is a linear relationship in the first place. We also assume the observations are independent of each other, and, like we mentioned before, that the error terms are normally distributed.
If your dataset violates these assumptions, your predictions are going to be completely useless. It's the golden rule of data science. Bad data quality ruins the model. Garbage in absolutely means garbage out. Section 4. Ethics and algorithmic bias. When math replicates flaws. Speaking of bad data ruining a model, what happens when our data isn't just a bit noisy, but actively prejudiced? Even mathematically flawless models can fail spectacularly and cause real human harm if we deploy them with blind spots. Absolutely. Ethical AI frameworks really emphasize fairness, transparency, and accountability because bias can sneak into these systems in a few different ways. The two big ones are data bias and algorithmic bias. Right. Data bias happens when the training datasets are incomplete, unrepresentative, or just straight up reflect historical discrimination. Machine learning literally learns from the past, so if the past was biased, the model will be biased. And algorithmic bias happens inside the algorithm itself. Let's say a model is optimizing just for overall accuracy across a giant population. It might end up performing terribly for a minority group that was underrepresented in the training data simply because the math didn't prioritize them. And these aren't just hypotheticals. We've seen real-world consequences. A really famous example is when Amazon tried to build an AI for recruiting, but they eventually had to scrap it entirely. It turned out the model was actively penalizing resumes that included female indicators. And it wasn't because the math was broken, it was because it was trained on historical tech hiring data that skewed heavily male.
Wow. Yeah, it just learned the patterns it was fed. We've seen similar issues with predictive policing tools ending up disproportionately targeting minority neighborhoods or facial recognition systems misclassifying people of color compared to white men. It just proves that historical data can unintentionally hard-code past inequalities right into the AI, and that has massive impacts on employment, the justice system, healthcare, you name it.
So, how do we actually fix this? The research points to a few practical mitigation techniques. Step 1 is data preprocessing. This means stepping in before the model even trains. You have to balance the data sets, anonymize sensitive features, and augment data to guarantee diversity. Step 2 focuses on modeling methods. We can't just optimize for the lowest mean squared error and call it a day. We have to recalibrate our learning objectives to embed actual fairness measures directly into the training process. Fairness has to be an active, highly conscious part of both gathering your data and building your algorithm. We've covered a lot today, from the math of the best fit line to the very real ethical responsibilities of using these models. But we want to leave you with something to really think about.
Yeah. If an AI system perfectly executes its mathematical objective, but in doing so, it replicates historical bias and denies someone a job or a mortgage, who's actually accountable? Is it the math, the data, or the human who built and deployed it?
It's a heavy question, but it places a massive ethical responsibility on the shoulders of anyone building these systems. Transparency and accountability literally cannot be an afterthought. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer on linear regression, and we will catch you in the next one.